it's Wasabi. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a review of the new TL-7 Tier 9 tank destroyer. It's a premium tank in the US line, and it's being released as part of an event as part of the Halloween loot boxes, and it's coming out with two other tanks, the Jagdtiger prototype and the Udani. Jagdtiger prototype is a Tier 8 tank destroyer. I'll give you a quick overview of that one. That's basically got the same armor as all the other Jagdtigers, but that includes the Tier 9, and it's got the same gun as the stock gun on the Tier 9 Jagdtiger. So it's got better pen than the Jagdtiger 88 Premium, and however it's got lower DPM but much bigger alpha, so it's the same alpha as the Tier 9 Jagdtiger. So we'll do a review on that sort of the next couple of days. The Udani is a Tier 8 Soviet heavy tank with really excellent frontal armor, and it's a unique sort of version of the pike nose. Again, we'll do a separate review of that particular tank, but today's video is going to be on the TL-7. There's a fair bit of interest in this. Just before we get into the stats, one thing is it's supposed to be a fairly low profile. It's a bit hard to tell here, although let's just measure it up against things like the tent and so on. But it's supposed to be, relatively small target. One thing I like about it is the 3D model. I don't think you'll need a 3D scan on this tank. So if you can have a look at the sort of anti-heat armor that's got on it. I'm not really sure if it's anti-heat. This design apparently was done in the 1950s. That led to the M48 tank, but it never, I don't think it even built a prototype of this one, so just a paper design. But it was basically about 5 different prototype or options for what the new medium or main battle tank would be based on the M48 pattern. But yeah, lovely 3D model with some nice effects on it, like the fuel tanks, etc. But I suppose that's the equivalent of getting a log on a Soviet tank. But yeah, really nice details on that. But let's have a look at the main characteristics, and we'll do some gameplay at the end, courtesy of one of my fellow CCs. But probably the first thing and the most important thing is the gun, of course. 120 millimeters. It's called the British gun. Not really sure why that's, where that comes from, but it's called the 2B British gun. And you can see the alpha is 360, and the standard pen is 252. The premium round has got 315 millimeters of penetration, but is an APCR, and it has really lovely shell velocity of 1492 meters per second. So that will come in pretty handy, and we'll show you how that gets used. Some other characteristics of the gun: rate of fire 5 rounds a minute, so reasonably good DPM, but more importantly, it's an autoloader. So 4-shot autoloader, and you can look at the time between shots, or the intra-clip time, 2.3 seconds. That's almost as good as the Waffenträger. So you're going to go bang, bang, bang. Well, not quite that fast. That's about a second, but it's going to feel like that in the game. So once you've got a target lined up, and let's say you're tracking him shooting through the front sprocket, you just be able to keep him tracked until you destroyed him. At 360 alpha, 4 shots, you're talking about 1300 odd damage in one clip, or potential damage, of course, because you're going to get RNG. But yeah, that's going to take out certainly some damaged tanks fairly quickly. Yeah, in 2.3 seconds, so yeah, just over 9 seconds to get your clip out. But then you've got a 41-second wait. Now, of course, that's going to be affected by crew skills and food and other sort of things, so you can get that down a little bit, but and we'll see how we go with that one. 10 degrees of gun depression, also pretty handy. Going to be able to take advantage of hull down positions, although the armor itself is not that fantastic. We'll get to that in a second. Aim time 2.5 seconds. Again, that can be improved. Standard dispersion is 0.38, but you'll be able to get that down to around about 0.32 with all the equipment and food, etc. You can see the average DPM there, and again, this is all base stats, so 1795. So not fantastic, but again, you'll be able to improve that. However, what the real value is that clip burst potential, and you can go and hide while you're reloading, typical autoloader behavior. So it's not that important that the DPM is like that. That's with these tanks, it's more about the burst potential. Right, let's have a quick look at the armor. So 1300 or 1500 hit points, I should say. 100 frontal armor and 200 on the turret. So not too bad, but not fantastic for tier 9. So it is classified as a support tank destroyer. So you don't want to really be getting out there in front of the rest of the enemy. But when we show you the gameplay, you'll be able to see how that plays out. And mobility wise, it's not that heavy tank. So you can see there 28 tons standard weight and a limit of 31.5. Engine power is only 480, but you get a specific power of 17. So it's going to be relatively nimble, and you can see a top speed of 50 kilometers per hour and 15 in reverse. So you will be able to get around the battlefield feeling fairly nimble. Traverse speed 31 is also quite reasonable. Concealment, again, we've got 100% crew in, but no skills yet. So 15.2 base for stationary and 9 for moving. So definitely be able to improve that with crew skills. And then finally, we've got the other important characteristics being view range, which is 370. So not fantastic, but again, you'll be able to boost that if you need to, but I think you'll get obviously spotting from other tanks, etc. So, all right, they're the sort of the main characteristics. We'll go into some gameplay and we'll come back with a review at the end of the gameplay. I'll also put a link in the description to the article that's already been published on the World of Tanks website, which will talk about all 3 vehicles, and you'll see a bit more information on the TL-7, but hopefully, yeah, I think you'll like this. But I guess the main thing is, how do you get it? It will be there in the loot boxes, which you'll need to purchase from the premium shop. It'll have the same mechanisms as the standard process, where if you haven't got a tank in 50 loot boxes, then you're guaranteed to get a tank, and the list of all the different tanks available. And this is an Asia server special. Yeah, will be in that article, so you'll be able to have a look at that. All right, let's jump into some gameplay. All right, now we're following 99 Destroyer in his press account. You can see that he's chosen improved rotation mechanism, vents and improved optics, and he's using the bounty versions of those. Actually, I think those are the bonded versions, actually. It's got a mix of standard ammo and premium, but he's loading the standard ammo at this point. And let's have a look at the movement of the tank. So he's following a Lorraine 50T, and we've got an Object 430, which is a medium tank, but obviously 430 is a little bit faster, but he's certainly keeping up with them. There we go, doing 40 something Ks now. This is also a slow area, although they might have improved it. But I'll also note this is, in this patch, this area of the Lakeville map has been changed, so this particular spot now is a bit more even. It doesn't give any real advantage to either side. So come up to this particular slope and use the top to spot and to shoot down. So being fast here means you can beat the enemy tanks though. So that's more about, what tanks are inside. Alright, just found the Scorpion. Here we go. Here's what I was talking about the entry clip time. So managing to put 2 shots in quick succession and take out the Scorpion. And he's just looking for another shot to, doesn't want to shoot at the T95. He's got his standard rounds loaded, so he's not likely to go through there, not without quite a bit of careful aiming, which he probably doesn't want to do at this point. So he's got quite a few enemy tanks in front of him. It's the 122 TM. He does take a hit from that, so the armour not necessarily standing up, but it already got 1100 damage, so doing pretty well. Anyway, he's used his clip now, so just going into the reload. And we'll get an idea, we'll pay attention when he does reload again, just to see exactly how long it is. You can see he's running Coca-Cola as well as food, so and crew would have the brothers in arms, no doubt, so maxing out the potential. And what you see he's done is track the T-122 and he's managed to go right through and takes out the tank. So it's taken him up to 2.2k, so he's done another 1100 odd damage. That's the burst potential at work, and now we can afford to sit back here. And here you go, the 430's been tracked as well and gets taken out as a result. So yeah, I guess what goes around comes around, but luckily that wasn't 99. So, but once he's reloaded, he comes back up and he can then start punishing the enemy as well. So below him's got a strip K, there's the T-95 there moving slowly across, luckily not facing him, but he can turn around pretty quickly. But I don't think he wants to take too much of a risk here. So he's got the E75 TS there. So a few tier 8s, of course, this tier 8, tier 9 match, so he is top tier, which will help. So far, his team's got an advantage in terms of tanks, but they're down in hit points, so this is something he can rectify fairly quickly. Here we go, aiming on the T-95. Trying to go for the commander's hatch, didn't connect in that point, that gets the kill there. So now he's going to just use his gun depression here and punish this strip K, which he does. Did take a hit from Marty there, but managed to get rid of the rest of his clip there on the strip K and leaves him on a one shot. So that's taken up to 3k damage. So you can see he's getting full use out of his clip, and that's used up all his standard ammunition. So now he's moved on to his premium, and I think he'd probably keep using his standard most of the time really in this particular match, but he just was carrying a mix, and this is not something you really got much control over really. If you're going to go into a tier 10 game, which you quite likely do, you really want to have the ability to fight there. You see he's not penetrating the E75 TS until he goes through the front sprocket, and he just goes on the reload here. But you can see for the first 3 clips he managed to get all 4 shots to penetrate, and giving him over 1,000 to 1,100 hit points per clip. Pretty good average, a little bit below what you might get, but again that's RNG at play. Alright, so in terms of the battle, they're even now in hit points, although they've got a massive advantage in guns, so this is going to play out in their favour. Now he does get spotted crossing here, so there you go, some tanks there, but he does avoid getting hit. Now he's proxy spotted Cobra actually, so it could be a pretty dangerous tank too. So he puts a nice shot in, and another shot. 2 shots, and you don't want to just reload your last 2 shots because of the 40 odd seconds. So gets all 4 shots into the Cobra, but unfortunately doesn't get the kill. So now he's on reload. So it looks like the reload time with the advantage he's got is around about mid-30s. So taking 5 or 6 seconds off the standard reload time for the whole clip. But that Cobra, although he's on a one shot, he's not being too shy, so I think he's playing fairly aggressively, and that indicates that he might play a part in the rest of the game, although it's pretty much quite finished yet. But here we've got a chance to do a bit more damage. Gets rid of a nice 3. And again, he's using his premium ammunition here with 315mm penetration, so no problem going through these tanks, even the T30. And he gets hit by the Cobra and finally gets taken out. But in that time, he's managed to accumulate over 6k of damage. So we won't watch the rest of the match. That is all you're going to see from the TL-7. So we'll jump to the results so you can have a look at the economics of this. Again, premium tank, so what sort of credit potential has it got? All right, so great game there from 99. He's actually one of the top players on the server. He's done 6.2k of damage, which is getting the high caliber award, and earned an ace tanker badge in that game, and got 5 kills. Could have been 6 really, with a bit of luck. That's given him 1698 base. It's a really excellent performance there. Almost 3 times the next player in terms of damage, and more than double the experience of the next players as well. So really great performance there. But yeah, what you want to see is the economics. So this account is, because it's a press account, we're not playing with premium because it's not really needed. So this is yeah, what you would see if you had this game in a standard account. So you actually got destroyed. So look, there you go. So that's the first clue that this is a premium vehicle, the low repair cost. So only 9,500 credits to repair a completely damaged vehicle. 52,000 on ammunition. We didn't really look at the individual cost of the shells, but he did fire all of his standard rounds and then started getting into his premium rounds. So it was a mix of shells there. And you've also got the resupply of consumables. So if you basically, ran a premium account and you bought your consumables when they're on sale, I think you'd find actually this tank could make a reasonable profit. That's probably the first time we've seen a tier 9 premium with this sort of earning potential. So that's interesting. I'll have to see how this pans out in terms of regular play. Obviously, this was a very outstanding game and didn't really waste much ammunition. You can see he fired 23 shots and 22 hit, and 20 of those penned. So really didn't waste any ammunition whatsoever. So yeah, this might be a bit unusual in that circumstance, but even if you did sort of 3k damage in a tier 9 game, you'd be pretty happy. What would your earning potential be? I think if you didn't waste too many shots, again, you'd make a decent profit, but that key is that repair cost. So, all right, let's just summarize this. Tier 9 premium, would you want it? I think you would. It's a auto-loading TD with a turret with full rotation and just a fairly long reload, but excellent intra-clip time, I'd have to say. Not bad aim time, and that close quarter combat that we saw there, probably a bit unusual in terms of its support tankability, but again, running food and so on, you'd be getting the dispersion relatively down, so you could snipe if you wanted to, and you saw that shot that he killed the IS-3 with, not quite halfway across the map, but decent distance there. So yeah, would recommend it. Now, given you've got to basically buy loot boxes to get it at this point, you might want to wait until it does get released in the premium shop, but if you hadn't bought loot boxes yet this year, and I don't know how many people may be in that circumstance, this might be the time to invest. Anyway, best of luck with that. As I mentioned, I'll put the link to the article about the release of these tanks and the event in the description below, and also a link to 99 Destroyer's Twitch account as well. Anyway, best of luck on the battlefield. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, we'd like you to do that. We'll have more great content to follow. Thanks very much for watching.